there, you beautiful faces. Welcome to the Viral Report. Hi, Lamar. All right, so let's get into this thing. So I'm not sure if you all have heard of this crazy story. I mean, it's just sad. Sad. Okay? Now, there's an 18-year-old woman by the name of Annabella Dukes and a 17-year-old man by the name of Adrian Alvala, who is the boyfriend of Annabella. They're now in police custody after Annabella lured a 20-year-old man by the name of Nicholas Otero on Snapchat to a neighborhood park where he was kidnapped and held for a $1,000 ransom. Yes, $1,000. Okay, now this story is just crazy at every turn. On top of the kidnapping, Annabella's boyfriend Adrian ended up deleting Nicholas' brother Elias in front of his family during the ransom attempt. Now, this incident took place back in February of 2021, but the suspects have just surrendered themselves to the police. Now, I'm not sure why it took almost a year for this to happen. I want you all to go ahead and take a look at these two news clips, and I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
Say Annabella met guys on social media, then set them up to be robbed and carjacked. One of those cases ended in murder. She may be smiling now, but 18-year-old Annabella Dukes is in a lot of legal trouble. So is the guy next to her, Adrian Avila. Both are wanted for multiple crimes, including the death of Elias Otero.
Please call Crime Stoppers. These people need to get off the streets. They are dangerous, and I don't want this to happen to any other families.
Alicia Otero says her son met Annabella on Snapchat. They went to a park where police say he was ambushed by a group of guys, robbed at gunpoint in his Lexus. Then
they drove him to my other son's house, Elias.
Police say the suspects demanded cash and a gun. The criminal complaint shows the carjackers had an AK-47 to Elias's brother's head, that they FaceTimed Elias and said they would hurt his brother if he didn't come outside with money. Elias's family says was protective, a former corrections officer with MDC who had just taken a job with the Postal Service.
My oldest son says, we're not giving him anything. So he walked outside with his gun. He is a concealed carry license holder.
Police say Elias was shot right in front of his family. His little brother managed to get away. The criminal complaint says the suspects used the same MO on another man the day before, with Annabella luring him on social media, only to be set up and carjacked. As for Avila, the criminal complaint shows he is no stranger to police, that he was part of another homicide investigation last year.
We hurt every day. We can't sleep. We can't sleep or nothing, and we just want these people caught.
Now, police are looking for them. Crime Stoppers is offering a $2,500 reward for information that leads to their arrests. For Target 7, I'm Nancy Laughlin.
Nancy, thank you.
Tonight, after nearly a month on the run, an 18-year-old turns herself in, now in custody in connection to the murder of a former corrections officer. 2 people charged after an alleged botched 2021 ransom plot, which began on the social media app Snapchat, according to police.
My youngest son called me screaming that my son, Elias, had been shot. I jumped in the car immediately. I got there in 5 minutes. I watched him die right in front of my face, and it was horrific.
The victim, Elias Otero, 24, engaged to be married. Instead, the family left to plan a funeral.
He dedicated his life to law enforcement, and he was about to get married. He didn't get to do any of that.
Elias killed in front of his home February 11th of last year in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A 17-year-old minor whose face we've blurred was charged with murder, kidnapping, 2 counts of armed robbery, and tampering with evidence. He turned himself in last month. Now Annabella Dukes, 18, faces the same charges and is in custody. Police say Dukes allegedly used Snapchat to lure Elias's brother, Nicholas Otero, 20, to Alvarado Park in New Mexico. Nicholas was then kidnapped and carjacked by 3 people. Police say they drove to Elias's house, video calling him and demanding $1,000 ransom, threatening to kill his brother if he didn't comply. According to law enforcement, Elias went outside with a gun but was immediately killed. The suspects fled and Nicholas escaped. The minor's lawyer says he has entered a plea of not guilty, adding, quote, "Let this process play out. He enjoys the presumption of innocence, and there is very little by way of direct evidence at this point."
2 suspects are now in custody. One is expected to have a first hearing in 2 days. What do you want to see?
I want to see him kept behind bars.
Elias's mom, Alicia Otero, started a community group advocating for tougher bail laws and longer sentences for violent offenders.
I want the people who were involved, all of them, to be put in prison. I want them to stay there.
This incident swept up in the city's unprecedented year for homicides, Albuquerque hitting more than 100 killings in 2021 for the first time on record. New Mexico's Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham pledging,
and we are going to pass a law this session that will keep violent criminals behind bars until justice can be done.
Her proposal, a 19% raise for New Mexico police and hiring 1,000 more officers, all while community members like Elias's mother make calls for action.
We're tired of this. We're tired of the violence. Everyone needs to put the guns down.
Rising Clay joins us now from here in 30 Rock. And Clay, I understand this isn't the only carjacking case Anna Dukes and the other suspects are linked with?
Yeah, Tom, that's right. The suspects fled the scene, but detectives were able to identify their vehicle with security footage and later linked it to a previous carjacking. We still don't know the identity of the other 2 alleged kidnappers. We also did reach out to the police department for more details and Snapchat, where many of the conversations with the suspects happened, according to police, and they did not immediately respond to our request for comment.
All right, so y'all just seen that crazy news clip. Now, this, like I said, this story is just crazy as heck. I'm always warning men that you have to be smart on these dating apps and on social media when interacting with women that you find attractive. These women of today, these modern women, are not the same women of yesteryear. Okay, they're not the same women that you knew when you were growing up. Okay, women nowadays are just as dangerous as men, because women have the advantage on their side that they are non-threatening. So it's easy to get caught up and lost in the words of a woman. And when you're on these dating sites, you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know who you're exchanging messages with. There have been instances where men have went out on these dates thinking that they're meeting up with a woman and have met up with a man and died. There have been instances where men have been catfished online thinking that they're talking to an actual woman and they meet up with a transsexual. Now, where Nicholas went wrong, the victim in this, who was kidnapped, he just didn't do his due diligence. He was thinking with his little head instead of his big head, and it caused a whole big problem. Nicholas met up with this woman on a Sunday. He met up with her on the 21st. The 21st was a Sunday last year in 2021. Any woman who's asking you to meet up with her on a Sunday morning in a public park, this was a neighborhood park that they met up in, that's suspicious right there. If I was this 20-year-old guy, because when I was his age, I was very suspicious of people, okay? And I'm still very suspicious of people, because trust is to be earned, not just freely given out. I'm not one of those people where you have to show me who you are and then I'm like, oh, let me fall back. I have to meet you, read your energy, and then I can let my guard down. Even when I go on my dates, I meet up in a public place where there's plenty of people. I don't park in some random place where it's dark. I'm very strategic about the places I choose to meet up with a woman. But Nicholas picked her up and then they went to a park. She started making little compliments about, his chain that he was wearing, his earrings that he had in his ear, because he had a diamond chain, he had diamond earrings in his ear. And, she's asking, if he has any guns, which he says drew his suspicion when she started asking those questions. And then he said before he knew it, a car approaches. Men jump out with an AK-47 pointed at his head. They strip him down. They take his wallet, his credit cards, and then they wanted $1,000. This woman had already been doing this. She was so comfortable because they had done it to other men. And Adrian, the boyfriend, he'd killed before. But this happens all the time. I want you all to go ahead and take a look at these 2 news clips.
And a man visiting from Georgia says he was drugged and robbed by a woman he met at a casino. Deputies say that woman drove him back to his hotel on North Federal Highway in Dania Beach last month. He fell asleep and then woke up the next morning, and that's when he found some white stuff in his glass and $9,000 gone. If you recognize the woman in that video, you're urged to call police.
The man told us someone set him up on a date just to get robbed, and now police are trying to identify this woman. The victim says that he connected with her before the crime. Channel 2's Nefertiti Jacques live on Hightower Road in Northwest Atlanta, where 3 men robbed and beat the guy looking for a date.
Justin, the victim is so scared he did not want us to show his face. Meantime, he tells us this very spot where we're standing is where that group pointed a gun at his head and then threatened to kill him.
I was scared. I didn't know what to do, and I was just like, I guess this is it, It's like, I guess this is like the end of my life.
The victim didn't want to show his face, but he opened up about the night he thought he was going to die.
I was scared. but it happened so fast.
His fear comes after he says he was set up by this woman, then beaten and robbed by a group of men. It all unfolded on December 12th. The 19-year-old victim says he met this woman who calls herself Destiny on the popular online dating site Plenty of Fish and agreed to meet up with her for a date.
We were like, you know what, let's just hang out. You know, it's like, all right, we can hang out at my place. I was like, okay, sure, why not?
The two agreed Destiny and her sister would pick him up at his Marietta home to go hang out. The victim says Destiny took a detour and made a stop.
Then out of nowhere, somebody with a gun just comes out of the window and says, yo, get out of the car, give me all your stuff, give me your money, your clothes, your shoes, everything.
Police say he was hit, then shoved into a separate car where 3 men were waiting and where he was asked to strip down to his boxers.
After a while, the guy's like, man, we should kill him.
While the suspect spared his life, the victim tells us he will never forget the fear that he felt and warns online daters to be careful.
Meet at like a cafe or a restaurant or a public place where like people are around.
Alright, so y'all just seen those 2 news clips, and you saw the first brother in the news clip. You know, he was just thinking with his little head also. I mean, men interact with women and then they just throw all common sense out of the door.
When you do clownery, the clown comes back to bite.
Damn, this video may have ended, but the fun continues over on the Viral Report podcast, available on Apple, Google, and Spotify platforms. I love you for watching. I'll see that beautiful face in the next one. Peace! Oh man, we about to get this party started. If you made it this far in the video, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe, like, and that notification bell. It ain't a party until you subscribe. I love you for watching, and I'll see that beautiful face in the next one. Peace!